Our work life has as big an impact on our mental health as our personal life. Let's talk about this more. You matter. This is a hot topic, and I think so fitting that we end this series with this topic, which is mental health in the workplace. So, what are the things that a person who may be listening to this, feeling overwhelmed, feeling burnt out, can do to better their mental health?
So for someone who's struggling with adjustment, or for those people who are having difficulty with coping, I hope you will take the time to first manage what you can control. And that is our daily routine. So building routines is crucial for navigating change. At least find a time of the day to be with yourself, like a way to soothe yourself after work hours. A lot of time to have some sort of a breaker or winding down activities. You may also set a schedule, let's say, for example, for sleep, for exercise, and practicing that sleep hygiene, which is really crucial. Maybe take some time off your phone. That would be helpful. We can be so exhausted with external forces around us, but at least we are trying to create the calm inside of us. So to create calm, remember the word calm. So C, cultivate positive and healthy mindset. A, allocate time for self-care. L, label your emotions to better take control of it. And M, for mindful practice or being present. Let's choose the calm amidst the chaos, and that would help us to definitely take control.
To add to it lang also, the pandemic for many of us got to really sit down and reflect. And during that time, and this time of change and uncertainties, nagkakaroon din ng something brewing inside of us where we're thinking if this is still the job we want to be in the next time that the pandemic happens, are my skills still relevant to what's actually needed in the future? So there was a lot of self-reflection, diba? And changes also, things, industries that we once thought and knew were stable for us, biglang, okay, I don't know what to do now because now this seems unrelevant or unimportant. So
Not essential.
Exactly. So you're like thinking, okay, what do I want to do and how do I keep myself stable and secure? So while everything around us, the chaos outside's happening also internally, so nakaka-overwhelm siya, and it can lead to a lot of burnout. And for the most part, burnout is a very emotional, correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Eiza, but burnout is a very emotional state. It's not just feeling tired. Tired is just, okay, when you get sleep, you can recover afterwards. But burnout is very emotional and it's mental. Na you also feel like you can't, or there's no reason for you to move forward. And for me, what I did to get out from that is to really put myself in and give myself that space na parang I am allowing myself to think, and I'm allowing myself for change to happen in my life. And the best way that you can do that is to speak with friends, speak with a psychologist like Miss Eiza, so that you can align yourself. If this is still your values, if this is still what you want to do, and if the way that I'm coping with this change internally and externally is healthy.
Thank you for pointing that out. I wanted to ask you both this because I get this question. A lot of people in our community have this dilemma. How do I know na tama na? It's time to put my foot down and find another job because it's not good for my mental health. Versus, it's just a tough time. This will pass and sayang lahat ng taon na pinaghirapan ko in this job because things will get better.
All right. So actually, Bianca, I encounter this case quite often. No, employees who struggle with their mental health would either think about resigning or think that the challenge will just pass. But there are many factors to consider, as you mentioned. There's no one size fits all approach in terms of this kind of decision making, because this is crucial, especially with our inflation and all the economic crisis that we are going through right now. So for my clients, I'd usually tell them to weigh the pros and cons of either staying or leaving. So writing it down would help. Like, what would be the pros of staying in the company or the leaving? Then take prioritization of what matters most at this time. Maybe try to rank the need or priority as of the moment. I understand that there are bills to pay, as mentioned, family responsibilities, and the promise of growth that could serve as other factors or other priorities. But I hope that we will take higher priority over physical and mental health status. I would like you to remember we could be easily replaced at work, but our health cannot be replaced. But first off, we need to have a check. Of course, hopefully we could have that annual check, maybe with a doctor or a mental health professional. If you know that you really need a health break, it's good to communicate also with your supervisor or your HR. Sick leaves and mental health leaves are meant for this kind of recharge. But if you think that there's culture at work that mostly triggers your stress and your boss is the main trigger, let's say, of your stress, try to ask yourself, is this something I can tolerate for the next couple of months? If the answer is yes, maybe you could try to work on improving what you can control. Okay, like your lifestyle, self-care activities, trying to reframe the thought patterns if you're having negative thoughts constantly about work. But if the answer is no, that it's like debilitating your functioning, you're having that kind of panic attack when you're like entering the meeting or when you're talking to your boss, or it really has an impact with your day-to-day activities, maybe it's time to create contingency plan that would help you to set more balance. So it's like, a lot of factors to consider, but then again, try to see if right now could you still tolerate it.
I'm gonna hard sell a bit. I believe that if you feel that it's not a great work environment, encourage your HR to have a mental health program at work. Have a company or an organization like MindNation to come in. If this is something that you're not seeing as just a you problem, it could be something all your colleagues are having trouble with leadership, with overall culture. This is something that we advocate as an organization. The space at work should be a psychologically safe space for you to grow, for you to develop yourself in your career, and for you to be able to find stability as well as be able to stay there and flourish and thrive there. It's something that HR and leaders should be very open to investing in, all the more now in times of change.
You can listen to the longer conversation with Kat and Eiza on Paano Ba To The podcast exclusively on Spotify. You can also catch the other You Matter episodes on YouTube and on Spotify. Follow Paano Ba To on Instagram and you can join our private Facebook group.